At some point today, I'm going to have to drink some water. I'm going to die.
He said drinking Diet Coke.
I know.
Welcome to Namely 90s, the podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there's Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Twitter and Instagram at namely90s with the 90s. You can also find the show on YouTube every Monday at namely90s.com/YouTube. And finally, if you'd like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/namely90s, also with 90s, and sign up. Smash the sign up button for one of those support levels.
I don't think that's how that works.
No, smash it. I am so tired.
Okay, so little housekeeping. Last week we said we were reporting in two batches, or this episode and the previous episode in the same batch. We didn't. We got tired.
Yeah.
So how are you still tired?
I just worked 3 overnight shifts in the last 3 days.
And you haven't gone to sleep yet.
Collectively, I've slept maybe 12 hours over the course of the last 72.
Okay.
And today I slept about 3.5 this morning before I got here.
We decided to record today because yesterday you would have been too tired.
Oh yeah, midday between shifts. At least I don't have to go back tonight, so it's a little easier. But I was saying, it is so hot. At some point, I should probably drink like an actual glass of water instead of my trusty diet zesty beverage.
That's strange that your Diet Coke's there in your hand because in the wide shot, your Diet Coke's behind your shoulder.
Ah, it's like Diet Coke Inception. It's just an old can because I'm a effing slob. You should see the floor of this place right now. It's covered in excrement and straw.
I was going to say, yeah. It looks like a Five Guys with all the peanut shells everywhere.
Our ice maker isn't working right. And our other ice maker, when you put ice in your cup from like the door of the fridge and then put water in it, and you look at the water, there's like little white flakes floating around in it.
Is it ice or is it
No, we have like hard water, and I think that like the hard water film gets on the ice cubes and then precipitates into crystals and then like dissolves in the water.
Do you not have a hard...
We have filters. That's what I don't understand.
Have you replaced the filter recently?
Yes.
Okay. Then I can't help you with that.
You're listening to Namely Ice Makers, Namely Water Quality on Patreon.
To be fair, Andrew does like his like various random ice cubes in different forms and such.
Yes. Our nugget ice maker is malfunctioning.
Which is the one that you really like.
It was only $600 and it lasted like a year and a half, which is great.
That sounds like a good investment.
Oh, right. This thing that says watch before episode.
Oh, yeah. That's just the trailer for The Truth About Cats and Dogs.
Okay. So, anyway, I guess I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, you could watch it during the break.
What's new with you there?
So every other Friday, there's like a night disc golf thing that I go to.
I think you're saying night disco.
Nope, disc golf. And we play across a golf course in the middle of the night, or like sundown. It starts around sunset. So it's like it's glow golf. That we have glow plastic and stuff like that, but
nice.
It was doubles, so random doubles. So I was paired with a random person yesterday, and we got second. So I won $5.
$5 didn't even pay for the gas.
Yeah, right. But still, haven't won second in a disc golf tournament before. I've gotten first in the novice division, which no one has these days, by beating I would say 12-year-old child. I felt good about that because I got a trophy, and so that was fun. I was excited about that. The reason why we were recording back to back is because we're both going on vacation. You're going on vacation.
Please don't say it vacay and spell it VACA, which spells
We're all
vaca,
going-
which
yeah.
means cow.
We're going on cow. Technically, I'm not going on vacay. I am going to be where you live while you come down to where I live.
Wow, like we never travel, and then when we do, it's specifically in the opposite. Okay, wow.
We might run into each other on. Oh no, because you have a direct flight.
Yeah.
Never mind then. But yeah, I'll be traveling to Pasco for a wine camp thing, and yeah.
Pasco's literally an hour and a half from me.
Is it?
Gosh
Yeah,
darn it.
Tri-Cities. And
Once you go past the jail, it's just another 20 or 30 minutes to the Tri-Cities.
Well, you guys might be back.
The 27th?
Yeah, I'm here that weekend. I
Oh,
leave
nice.
Monday. Yeah. Anyway.
Learning about irradiated wines because of the Hanford nuclear reservation, which like contaminates all the water.
Pretty much. That'll explain why, the Merlot tastes like cab and the cab tastes like Merlot.
It's not Glühwein, it's Glowvine.
That's funny.
Yes, thank you. I'll be here all week.
Andrew wants a guest on my wine YouTube series, Rewind, which is nearing 300 subscribers.
Whoa!
And I've not put any work in since I was at 260.
I believe that's 0.2. No. I was going to say 0.2 subscribers per day.
I was going to say it's nearly 10% or 10 times the amount of subscribers we have on the Name Me 90s YouTube channel. So if you'd like to watch us talk about this episode, well, no.
Yeah, we talk about this episode. We analyze this episode in real time.
If you'd like to watch our beautiful mugs talk during this episode, you can find us over on Name90s.com/YouTube.
Name90s.com/YouTube. Subscribe.
Yes,
Smash
not the
that
other way
subscribe
around.
button.
I think we still need. I think it's 200 subscribers to get a vanity URL on YouTube. It might be 1,000 now. So
never.
So never,
right.
yeah. But we put up the Name Me 90s minutes that we do as individual things, and those actually get some views.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, gosh. We've been talking for not that long.
7 minutes or so.
7 minutes. 7. Anything else?
Not really. It's kind of been a slow week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel-
What about you?
Abnormal. Just very tired.
Well, we can skip on ahead.
I don't know what time of day it is even. Oh, boy.
It's 3:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, my gosh. This AC needs to get its act together and cool things up.
Yeah, if Andrew dies on recording, well, one, you won't be able to hear this because he wouldn't have sent his audio, and two, RIP to the show.
So what else? My cats are attacking my home with barf.
Oh,
They get like, when Kayla and the kids are gone and I'm kind of out of the house a lot because of work, the cats like panic barf, I think. They get
because no one's
stressed out.
home.
Yeah. It's a disaster. So I'm gonna have some carpet cleaning, which is kind of nice. We're doing this early, so I can go do this thing with my parents for dinner, and then come home and pass out, but also clean simultaneously.
No, I feel you because I also have to. I have schoolwork to do at some point today. Yeah. Yeah.
But
There's like 7 of them. Why can't they keep each other company?
I don't know. I think one of them may have eaten the other cat. He's so fat now that it's possible he's consumed another entire cat. Anyway, why don't you take us back to April of 1996?
All right, travel back with me, listeners, to April of 1996. On the 1st, the Halifax Regional Municipality in Nova Scotia is formed, amalgamated from municipal governments within the county by the provincial government, and I assume that's what Andrew sent me in chat.
You'll probably remember that video.
Yeah.
It's one of their early viral videos, but I think before YouTube, possibly.
Yeah, one of the only reasons. No, was it pre-YouTube?
It was around the Power Thirst days. I know it's the same people, but...
I thought it was, because it's the same commercial. Isn't it? Oh, well, there's a Halifax tourism board video that wasn't officially from them, but...
Yeah, I think that's what this one is. Anyway, it's very fun.
Yeah. that's just Google whatever Andrew Googled and didn't say.
I typed in Halifax video and it came right up.
Fair enough. That's why I included that with this. On the 6th, Marlon Brando makes anti-Semitic remarks while on Larry King Live, stating that, quote, Jews control Hollywood, end quote.
He must have said more than that, because Jews control Hollywood is not an anti-Semitic statement. It may be inaccurate, but it's not like disparaging to them. If you said Jews are bad and they control Hollywood, wouldn't that be a negative comment?
I think it's the stereotype that Jews secretly control anything is anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there are a lot of them, and they're very influential in Hollywood, but like that statement on its own is not specifically negative, right? He probably said other stuff, I imagine.
I don't think so. I don't think
it's factual.
You don't think it's factual that's...
No, I don't think it's factual what he said, but I'm just saying, like, is it...
Then why would that not be a derogatory remark, then?
Well, because you can say untrue things, because, like, the idea that they would control something like Hollywood would be positive. It's a booming, great industry, and they're very creative, and they're very good at that kind of thing. So would that be a positive thing?
I don't think that's how he implied it.
No, but, I mean, there's Mel Gibson, who's just like, who goes the other way. And is very clearly, I don't know, I'm just saying, it's not appropriate, clearly, but I feel like maybe more things were said, or maybe it was the inflection used, you know?
Oh, it's definitely an inflection. It's definitely stanky.
Okay.
It's a stanky J,
because I feel like you could say that in a joking way, and people would laugh, and it would be kind of funny. But if you say it with that edge, then you're now...
Of course they would laugh. It was the 90s.
No, I know, but... Okay, let me put it this way. If Jerry Seinfeld said that, it would be funny. But he's also Jewish.
Yeah, if he's Jewish. Yes. Also on the 6th, the first ever MLS game is played and broadcast on ESPN. Major League Soccer lost an estimated $250 million during the first 5 years, and more than $350 million between its founding and 2004.
It's because no one wants to watch a bunch of people run around for 96 minutes and end in a tie of 0-0.
That's very true. I thought it was 90 minutes.
Yeah, there's always that stupid overage time that no one really knows, like, how much it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. I never know.
Yeah, why would they not keep track? Or why would they not tell somebody?
Yeah, it's probably in rules somewhere. On the 12th, Rock for the Rainforest benefit concert is held at Carnegie Hall in New York City, which includes Sting, Elton John, Don Henley, Diana Ross, and Robin Williams, among others.
Nice.
Do you remember any of these benefit concerts? I don't.
No, I remember all the people. That's a pretty great lineup.
Well, I picked the ones that you would know.
My parents saw, and my brother saw Robin Williams live in concert. Well, live. And apparently it was like the funniest thing they'd ever been to.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous of that.
Yeah.
On the 13th, the Detroit
rings.
Yeah.
The Detroit wedding rings.
The Detroit Onion Rings record their 62nd win in the season, setting a new record for the NHL. For the NHL wins in a season, it was previously 60 from the 76-77 Montreal Canadiens.
Canadiens, actually.
Canadiens.
Thank you. It really is Canadiens. But they're in French Canada, so that makes sense. French Canada.
French Canadiens. Gotcha. On the 14th, Abigail Breslin is born. Do you know who Abigail Breslin is?
No, because I've never seen any of the movies that you have listed there.
I thought you saw did we not see Zombieland together? No. Scream Queens is a TV series. But yes, she was the little girl in Little Miss Sunshine, which is how everyone kind of knew her. And then
that's one with Paul Giamatti in it, right? Is that Paul Giamatti?
I don't think so. Is it? Maybe just Googling. She's the little sister
Steve Carell. For some reason, I think I get that movie mixed up with...
Sideways.
Sideways? Oh, Bryan Cranston is in Little Miss Sunshine.
Well, it's an indie movie. It came out around the same time. It might be the same director.
Has Chloe from...
24.
24, Alan Arkin. Dean Norris, also of Breaking Bad.
It won some awards. Or was nominated. I'm pretty sure.
Wallace Langham from CSI. Paula Newsome from CSI. Wow, what a cast!
It's all like you would actually want to watch that movie someday.
Adam Driver was in that movie.
Oh,
Regis
really?
Philbin. Hey.
I think
I think there are a lot of cameos, probably, but
I don't think Adam Driver was a cameo worthy back
he's
then.
like in the sixth
older
row.
brother, probably.
Yeah.
On the on the 16th, Anna Taylor-Joy is born. Do you know who Anna Taylor-Joy is? Anya Taylor-Joy.
Nope.
She's in the Queen's Gambit and Emma, whatever that is. On the 20th, the Chicago. I can't talk today. The Chicago Bulls record a record 72 wins in a season for the NBA.
Oh, a lot of winning going on.
Yeah. Hashtag Charlie Sheen winning. On the 25th, Allison Snyder, Allison Ashley Arm, is born. She was on the Disney Channel series Sunny with a Chance, So Random, and currently, I guess, she's on the show AP Bio.
Oh, that has the guy from
Always Sunny.
Always Sunny. Boy, I've seen commercials for that, and it does not look great, does it?
It does not, but I think it got a second, possibly third season.
Wow.
Also, apologies to Allison if they go by they instead of she now. I don't remember. On the 26th, Sotheby's, the auction house, ends a 4-day auction of Jackie O's possessions, taking in $34.5 million. Do you know who Jackie O is?
Strangely, I was just thinking about this. What is the full last name again?
Kennedy?
Yeah, okay, I was going to say, I feel like she's related to the Kennedys somehow.
She's the wife of John F.
Yeah, I know, but I know her as, Jackie Kennedy, not... I always know that it's Onassis, and then it's like it's O, and I don't know, whatever.
Gotcha. I couldn't remember Onassis, to be honest. Is it Jackie Kennedy Onassis?
Yes.
JK. Rip to the max.
JK. Rip to the max.
On the 28th, Australia's worst massacre in modern history occurs. Martin Bryant shoots and kills 35 people in Port Arthur, Tasmania, which leads to a compulsory gun buyback program and major changes to gun control laws.
I don't know, that sounds like an overreaction to me.
1996.
Hashtag sarcasm.
Yeah.
Hashtag what the is wrong with our country.
Right, 35 people were killed, and it immediately leads to reform.
Meanwhile, in the U.S., 525,600 people were killed by gun. No, I'm just kidding. That's not a real statistic, but it leads nicely into our next point.
On the 29th, Rent, starring Idina Menzel and Taye Diggs, opens on Broadway for the first time. Also, on the 29th, TV Land, a spin-off of Nickelodeon's Nick at Night channel, is launched, which is a whole channel devoted to classic television.
But then don't they have like a segment on Nick still that is
Nick at Night?
But it's not like classic television. It's like new classic.
It's 90s.
Not old classic. Yeah.
It's 90s and early 2000s.
Right.
Yeah. If you watch TV Land now, you would not find like the oldest. There's like a block of the Andy Griffith Show, and then According to Jim. Because I was gonna make a little game, asking you what shows are actually currently on TV Land that are old, and they don't. They're all within like the 2000s now. TV premiering and ending in April 1996. On the 20th, Power Rangers Zeo. On the 23rd, Forensic Files on TLC. That one's for Andrew. And on the 28th, we have Dexter's Laboratory premiering on Cartoon Network.
Dexter's Laboratory.
Dexter's Laboratory.
Lavatory.
Lavatory.
Lavatory? No smoking in the lavatory, please.
In the box office, April 1996. On the 7th, we have the TV movie Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which predates the TV series, but it still stars Melissa Joan Hart, which was then adapted. It was then adapted TV series, but like they replaced the aunts, the love interest, the story. It was all different. On the 12th, we have Fear, featuring Mark Wahlberg, Reese Witherspoon, and Alyssa Milano. Seen that one? Caught it on basic cable in a hotel once.
But I have been, so in the background of my TV, the AXS channel is on, which I think is kind of like a music network. There's always like live concerts on it. That's where I saw the Nirvana concert.
I thought you were going to say New Kids on the Block.
Well, we'll come back to that. But then, so I always watch my on-demand, but then when I fall asleep, the on-demand kicks off and goes back to that channel until you change the background channel. But it keeps playing like this.
You live in a hotel.
There's like a 7-year-old Wahlberg reality show on there.
Oh, yeah.
About Wahlburgers and like their family.
Is it 7 years old?
It is. He was talking about like they were having a premiere for, well, the ones I've been watching, he was doing the premiere shooting for that oil rig movie, Mark Wahlberg.
Transformers?
No, the one about the oil rig that blows up. It's a true story.
Not familiar.
Anyway, and then of course his brother has been on Blue Bloods for 13 years or something.
Arrested for arson last episode.
It's called Deepwater Horizon. It's a 2016 film starring Mark Wahlberg, Kurt Russell, Kate Hudson, John Malkovich, and someone else.
That's actually a good cast.
Yeah, actually, it got 82 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So it might actually be worth watching. I've actually wanted to watch that movie.
I just learned about it today.
It didn't do great in the box office.
It's a movie about an oil rig.
Wow. The budget was $156 million and it made $121 million.
So it didn't break even.
No, but yet it's considered good.
I mean, critically acclaimed is possible. Surprising, but possible. Also on the 12th, James and the Giant Peach, the animated one that looks like it's from Tim Burton, but not. I hated that. Also on the 12th, we have Jane Eyre, written by Jane Austen.
I think so.
The other lady. On the 19th, Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie. They made a movie about the show that watches old.
They made a movie about silhouettes saying stuff about
different
movies.
On the 26th, The Truth About Cats and Dogs, starring Janine Garofalo, Uma Thurman, Jamie Foxx, David Cross, Mary Lynn Ricegub, Bob Odenkirk, and the song Run Around by Blues Traveler.
Wow, everyone from Breaking Bad is in stuff. Probably because they're also actors.
Yeah, Bob Odenkirk was like, I think he was known for Mr. Show during that time. Plus, he was a writer with Conan on SNL.
Oh yeah, I went back and re-listened to I know you don't like the true crime as much, but this special where Conan O'Brien goes on My Favorite Murder is freaking hilarious. He is so funny.
He's fun.
You should. I mean, if you're gonna listen to one episode, for you, I would recommend that one because Conan's so hilarious.
Okay. In the Billboard charts, April 1996. Number 1 for April 1996. In for March is Because You Loved Me by Celine Dion. Continuing on for last week of April 1996 is at number 2, we have Always Be My Baby by Mariah Carey. Number 4 is Ironic by Alanis Morissette.
And isn't it ironic?
Number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, open parenthesis. Something New.
Something New.
by close parenthesis by Coolio. It's 1, 2, 3, 4.
5. Everybody, is it Lou Bega? I'm doing Mambo number 5.
Number 11, Follow You Down by the Gin Possums. Number 13, Missing by Everything But the Girl. Do you recognize that song? It's like the I can't get the and I miss you like the deserts miss.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
And I miss you.
Which song was that?
Missing by Everything But the Girl. Yeah.
There's a mist to it. There's a mist to it. It goes up. I'm Falling Down is a good song.
Yeah.
Of course, 1979 by the Smashing Pumpkins. I don't think I've heard that before.
Number 17.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
You played it every time I was in your car.
That's fair. I liked the Smashing Pumpkins when we were in high school a lot. Number 22, Give Me One Reason by Tracy Chapman. Number 23 is Wonder by Natalie Merchant. I can't tell you what it was about, but I said I liked this song. I don't even remember what it sounds like.
I've never heard it.
You've probably heard it. You just don't know the title. And finally, number 25, Just a Girl by Nadat.
No doubt. Let's see, Halifax video, and then I'm going to watch the
You also need to say the thing.
Oh, right. And now let's go to Brandon for the Namely 90s Minute.
Welcome back to our mid-episode break, Namely 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, in honor of Season 6 of Rick and Morty, we're looking back at the inspiration of the series, at least the part that released in the 90s, Back to the Future, Part 3. Previously on Back to the Future, Doc Hollywood goes back in time, met his parents, and nearly erased himself from existence before his mom tried to sleep with him. After fixing that problem, he went to the future the next morning when his girlfriend transformed from Linda Barrett from the Fast Times TV series into the girlfriend from the Karate Kid. An old man stole a DeLorean, traveled back in time, and gave himself a sports almanac so he could make money off of sports bets. Upon realizing what happened, Alex P. Keaton and Reverend Jim from Taxi travel back to 1955 and destroy the almanac, but also Uncle Fester is hit by lightning in the DeLorean and is sent back to 1885. We open Part 3 with Teen Wolf getting sent back to 1885 because he learns that Judge Doom gets killed a week after he wrote the letter in 1885. Upon arriving, there's some intensive depictions of Native Americans in the Old West who attack the DeLorean and cause the gas lines to get cut, which is on the outside of the car for some reason, and somehow that empties all of the gasoline from the vehicle. Since petrol wasn't utilized as a fuel until 1892 and they only have a week to stop Commander Krug from the search from Spock's death at the hands of country western Biff, they decide to hook the DeLorean up to a train and send it across the ravine into 1985, where there's a bridge there to land it on. If that didn't make sense to you, you're not thinking fourth dimensionally. Meanwhile, one who flew over the cuckoo's nest falls in love with a new teacher in town, going south. Things get complicated as per usual. The voice of Stuart Little ends up in a western-style showdown the morning of the day they were going to rob the train to push the DeLorean with, and he ends up beating country western Biff by using the bulletproof cast iron door technique he saw Clint Eastwood use in A Fistful of Dollars in the alternate 1985. That all resolves, and country western Biff ends up in a pile of manure, so they go rob a train and attempt to go back to the future. But first, the mom from Elf rides her horse alongside the train to confess her love for Professor Plum, and they end up flying away on the hoverboard as the voice of Chance from Homeward Bound is sent back to the future by himself. A train then destroys the DeLorean, but then a hover train appears with the boss angel from Angels in the Outfield, his now wife, Ted Danson's wife, and their two kids, who leave Marty forever in 1985 to travel in time. Also, the voice of Milo from Atlantis, the Lost Empire, learned the lesson about not having to prove his worth in a toxic masculine way, or something. And that's Back to the Future Part 3 in the Namely 90s Minute. More or less.
And now, back to the show.
Anywhere you... Oh, the Natalie Merchant song, Wonder. I just listened to it a second ago. It was like... And I lost it again. It was like...
Oh yeah, I know this song.
And I could be part of the wonder.
Raise hand, turn my hand. I don't know what she says there, but
yeah, I wasn't too far off.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anywhere you want to go?
The truth about cats and dogs, because that's the only one I know anything about really in this list.
Sure. Well, I mean,
I have to go there because Janine Garofalo portrays a veterinarian in film, which I'm sure is going to be woefully underwhelming and inaccurate.
It's the whole point of like the entirety of the list that we go through is so that you may notice something that you know.
Yeah, I know of Dexter's Lab and then Power Rangers. I'm like, bleh. Sorry, I shouldn't have given away the whole topic list, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
Anything. Yeah. There's other things. There's anti-Semitism.
I think we covered that one probably more so than.
Yeah.
So the truth about cats and dogs.
The Truth About Cats and Dogs. 1996 American romantic comedy film. Starring Janine Garofalo, Uma Thurman, Ben Chaplin, and Jamie Foxx somehow.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx
it's
somehow.
A modern reinterpretation of Cyrano de Bergerac. Follows Abby, a veterinarian and radio talk show host, who asks her model friend Noelle to impersonate her. That's Uma Thurman. When a handsome guy, I'm assuming that's Ben Chaplin, shows interest in her. It also featured the song Blues Traveler a lot.
The song Blues Traveler?
Yeah. The song Run Around by Blues Traveler a lot. It had positive reviews and met with considerable box office success.
The thing is, that trailer was 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and it felt like my entire life passed me by during that time.
I mean, let's be honest. That was like the cheesiest, most stereotypical '90s rom-com trailer.
Yeah.
Janine's not your average veterinarian. Brian has a problem with a dog. Janine gets her friend Uma to pretend she's her, and she falls in love with her, but also in love with her.
I couldn't believe like the title card they showed. I was like, that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
on a movie trailer.
1996.
1996.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. So basically, the movie is about Abby, and she answers a caller. The caller kind of is hot for her because she has a radio station or radio show, and listener, how you think that you'd want to end up with one of us just because of how sexy we sound over this podcast. No, the point of the thing is she pretends she's actually Uma Thurman in her looks, and then Uma Thurman meets him for some reason, and then they start dating, and then Abby has to... It's Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yeah, but it also does that thing where it's like... Isn't it supposed to be like the main character is supposed to be like a little dorky and unattractive?
Yes,
but then, like,
it's Japanese girl.
Right, but then in reality, like, then they get a makeover at some point, and then they don't look that bad because they're actually not unattractive. They're just not, like, super attractive, like a lot of movies do.
Yeah. She took off her glasses and let down her hair.
What was that movie we watched where the girl wore, like, the overalls and stuff, and then she's all that. Yeah, it kind of had that vibe going.
Yeah, with Rachel Lee Cook.
Yeah.
She's so ugly in her overalls and bun hair.
Bun hair.
Yes.
What? So did you ever see that movie?
I didn't. I just remember hearing the song Run Around all the time, and then like it was in this trailer, so I've always associated it with this movie, which is weird because it came out like 2 to 3 years before this movie came out.
I struggle to watch movies and shows with veterinarians in them because they're always just portrayed so incorrectly.
What did you think of the turtles, her sticking her finger up a turtle's
Well, this
butt?
concept that veterinarians treat all creatures great and small is really kind of a misconception. Like most vets don't do that. You kind of choose a species because the thing is, if you do a little bit of everything, you're not going to be that good at anything.
That's true.
So it's pretty uncommon, but the 90s were a different time. And the funny thing I think about being in this profession is like people who graduated from vet school in the 90s are like really like a lot of their medicine is a little suspect. Not all of them, but they're just like they've learned things longer ago and things were different back then. So I just like to think about what medicine was like back then, and then like
some uppity 30-year-old's gonna be saying that in 30 years.
Yeah, I know.
You.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah. But yeah, so you're saying don't stick your finger up a turtle's rectum.
I don't know what the purpose of that was. Maybe. I don't know anything about turtles, and that's my point.
It needed its anal glands expressed?
Yeah, I don't know. That's exactly my point, though. I know nothing about turtles because I treat cats and dogs.
That's fair. The truth about that being...
And I go on the radio at least daily to take calls live on the air about people's animals.
Just don't love your pets.
Yeah.
It has an 85% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Better than that Mark Wahlberg oil rig movie.
Yeah. Somehow it's sharp, witty, and charming. The Truth About Cats and Dogs features a standout performance from Janine Garofalo. That's probably
there was probably a different, like the unrated cut of the comment about not loving your dog.
Oh, don't
bleed your dog.
So Janine Garofalo, in a more recent interview in later years, has a quote saying, she expressed some dissatisfaction with the film, saying, "I think it's soft and corny, and the soundtrack makes you want to puke, and everybody's dressed in Banana Republic clothing. The original script and the original intent was very different than what it wound up being when it became a studio commercial film. It was originally supposed to be a small budget indie film where there would be much more complexity to all the characters, and Abby and the guy don't wind up together."
I think it's easy to say that, like, when you've had a career and made your money, but, like, back then, she probably was like, I'm getting a movie role, I'm going to go do it. You know what I mean?
I'm the star of a movie.
I would go...
Uma Thurman's my sidekick.
I would go do any movie if they were just like, here's $5 million. I'd be like, this could be the worst piece of crap ever. I am there. And then in 20 years, I'd be like, it was in bad taste, but...
I just did it for the money.
It's like the thing that rich people do, where they're like, oh, well, money doesn't buy happiness. It's really the relationships we forge. And like, as they pull up in their Bentley, you're like, okay, calm down.
Yeah. But it's apparently Uma Thurman's character is a little bit more complex than just being like the dumb friend that's being a pawn for Abby.
Right.
As we saw in the trailer, where she's like, he has this one giant flaw. What's that? He's in love with you.
Oh wow. That's how you really feel.
Yeah. Cyrano de Bergerac.
So, when that was Cyrano or de Bergerac, a veterinarian on the radio, or?
No. Did you not read that in high school?
No. It was considered too offensive because it had...
a long nose?
Yeah, exactly. We wouldn't want to offend children. Pinocchio's fine, but Cyrano de Bergerac is not appropriate.
Because he had some strings on him.
I just like that thing where it's like, this book is offensive. That's the point of the book. Which one was that? That was, I sent you that.
I don't remember. It's been a while. But yeah. They just banned a book recently from the schools. I was like, what? Oh, they removed freaking Anne Frank from a Texas school.
That's... it says school district polls to kill a mockingbird from reading because it makes people uncomfortable. So it says, that's the point of the effing book. They pulled, I'm pretty sure I saw they pulled Anne Frank because there's Nazis in the book. Well, as we know, the Holocaust is a fabrication and never happened. Some people believe that in this country, and probably others. Some people, like the country it happened in. Yeah. There's no way. Well, there is a way. And, also swept under the rug, internment camps. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with these. No. To be honest, I learned about them in college. What else? And I'm Japanese. Garofalo. No. What? We talked about Power Rangers Turbo. We've talked about Power Rangers. We talked about Zeo on Christmas special. We did, and I had the morphers out. That was the horrible one where no one did any morphing. Yes, that we watched quite possibly the worst episode of the Power Rangers in its 20 years. Just when you thought it, 30 year history. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse, that episode occurred. Yeah, and it set a milestone so high for being so bad. Yeah, that it hasn't been surpassed since. It got close, but yeah. Power Rangers Zeo is a Power Rangers series. It was the first sequel series to Mighty Morphin. Mighty Morphin had 3 seasons. The first season, they bought Zoo Ranger footage from Japan and were like, cool. They reshot the unmorphed scenes so that then the teenagers would turn into the Japanese Power Rangers and whatever. Second season, they paid the studio in Japan to shoot new scenes with the old Zoo Ranger costumes. Because in Japan every year,
they have new Power Rangers, new outfits, new Zords, and whatever. It makes them money. It's a kid show. But it doesn't work for the Power Rangers model because Americans were attached to the Power Rangers. In that form. So the third season, they brought in like ninja stuff and
Go Ninja, go.
Exactly. We talked about there's a Power Rangers in Space episode that crossover with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But yeah, this finally season 4 became Power Rangers Zeo. It was epic for me because the end of season 3 of the Power Rangers, like, they lose. They lose so hard. The command center's blown up. Like, as a child, you think they're gonna die.
It's heavy.
It was heavy. The command center blew up, and the evil. They lost their powers, and then evil won.
Evil always prevails.
Yeah,
in the short term.
But then they find the Zeo crystal in a secondary chamber underneath the command center because, of course, they have a new set underneath the previous set. And they became the Zeo Rangers. And, it was Tommy, Adam, Rocky, Kat, and...
Power Rangers is the multicultural Christmas party or whatever that thing was.
Tanya joins them. That's right. Tanya. Replacing Aisha. Anyway, yeah, Power Rangers. Zeo, I kind of like Zeo. The cool morphing things, and they would yell Zeo Ranger, whatever.
Is it a hand jive, or are they actually morphing?
That's their morphing sequence. Jason came back as the mysterious Gold Ranger.
Oh, yes.
That's Power Rangers Zeo in the naming 90s minute.
More or less. Let's see how long we've been at this.
Almost 40.
I feel like I'm going to die of heat exhaustion, and my final moving blanket just fell off.
Okay, so then I'll just talk about Dexter's Laboratory in 2 minutes, and then we can close this off.
Naming 90s, 2 minutes.
Dexter's Laboratory, one of those early Cartoon Network shows, Dexter's Laboratory. He had that annoying sister, Dee Dee. He somehow hid an entire lab inside his closet and or basement.
What if there was a gritty reboot where it's just a meth lab?
It's Dexter from Dexter.
In the Breaking Bad universe, though.
Yeah.
Set in Albuquerque.
Starring Dexter from the Dexter series. Yeah. There was also they had Dial M for Monkey. They had shorts in between the two main parts of the episode. Dial M for Monkey, where his pet laboratory monkey was actually a superhero. And then there's the Justice Friends, which was a spoof on the Justice League. I remember they had a Thor type guy, but he was always rocking out on stuff. But yeah, Dexter's
Lab out. I don't know. Deeper out.
But yeah, Dexter's Lab was big for kids our age, and then the most, you may know it from the not current meme, but a meme in the last 5 years where there's an episode where Dexter learns French and he would seduce the ladies by saying omelette de fromage.
Is this why our generation actually still believes in science?
Possibly. Maybe Ninja Turtles, maybe Star Trek. But yes, omelette de fromage. It's cheese omelets.
It's cheese, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else for this?
No, I think that's got to be a wrap because he just has to.
You are literally dying.
I feel like I'm going to pass out.
All right. That's it for this week's edition of Naming 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Check this episode description for this week's supplemental Spotify playlist curated by yours truly. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at Namely90s with 90s, or find our personal Twitters at bshorty and at NamelyAndrew, and tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. And if you'd like to support the show, get Andrew some more AC, please check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Namely90s, also with name 90s. And finally, you can contact us through our website, Namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Andrew's Dead, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon, that's Andrew, and we'll catch you next time. Por favor.